Welcome to your daily dose of theological German. We're in a new series doing an excerpt from this book, The Kingdom of God and Christendom. So here it says, no longer possesses the, you might say moving, but maybe touching, or really literally would be like gripping or something like that, simplicity of an Amos or an Isaiah. So this is a very straightforward sentence in German. You have first your subject at the beginning of the sentence, which is always nice. That is a pronoun, it. It's referring back either to Ezekiel or more precisely his prophetism that was in the previous sentence. And so it, and then you have your verb, possesses, and some modifiers, no longer the gripping simplicity or the moving simplicity of an Amos or an Isaiah. One kind of interesting thing here is the use of this conjunction. I keep translating it as or, and yet it's und. And you know, it's funny, when you deal with these differences in languages, grammarians and writers of textbooks love to do things like create categories. Oh, this is the contrastive use of und, because it sounds weird in English to say an Amos and an Isaiah. But there is no contrastive use of und. I'm sorry, it might be more likely that we have a conjunctive use of or in English. Or none of the above. I mean, the point is, we just sometimes use these things in different ways in our languages, and they don't correspond in a one-to-one way. And so you don't need to invent all these special case uses, like, oh, und is normally a kind of a conjunction, but occasionally it's going to do that. No, it's just und, and it just does all these kinds of things. And one of the things it does is the thing that we will use or to do in English. Conjunctions are sort of operating at the kind of textual level in terms of metafunction of language, and so it's best not to try to get too concerned about lexical equivalence in translation. But yes, so I would say or here, because that's how we would typically formulate this type of construction in English. We would say that it no longer possesses the gripping simplicity of an Amos or an Isaiah, because we're giving examples. And so there are other examples besides those two, and that's how we do it in English. What else can we say? One last thing, just I guess to point out, is that this adjective here, I keep saying gripping, and the reason why I'm saying gripping is because if you look up the actual verb behind this adjective, which is ergreifen, I think, then it means something like to seize or to grab. And so, man, my writing is not on point today at all. Sorry for that. Yes, so it means something like to seize or to grab. And so you can see how when that gets turned into an adjective, you would end up with something like gripping, because you can see the semantic relationship. And in English, that's what we do as well. You take the verb to grip, you put an ing ending on it, and it becomes gripping. And that's exactly what happens here in German. You take this verb, you put a D on the end of it, and just put a D there, and that's the equivalent of putting it like an ing on a verb in English. It becomes a present participle or a gerund, and so then you can use it substantively or as an adjective, and they're using it as an adjective here. But if you look this up in the dictionary, it also appears as an entry just as an adjective, which is fine, because many adjectives get formed like that from verbs, but then they just go around being adjectives after that. And so you'll find other options there. You might want to say moving or touching or, poignantly or something like that. There's going to be a range of options that you can use, because once you get semantically from grab or grip into some kind of an adjective, it takes on a life of its own as it gets used naturally in the German language. And so there's some range of nuance that you could use, whether you want to say moving or touching. But I think gripping also works. I don't think it's so far removed from the initial verbal idea, but you always want to be consulting your dictionary to make sure you have a handle on it. As always, thank you for watching, and please do like and subscribe and share this with all of your German theological friends, and we'll see you next time.